Audrey, thanks for meeting with me again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always.
We had our post-observation conference last week. During that time, we discussed a lot of strengths during your last observation.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some couple areas of growth as well. We talked about, how growing is important.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those areas of growth that you mentioned, what's one area of growth you would like to intentionally focus on this year? It can be an academic goal or any other kind of goal.
So my goal for myself is based on classroom management. I want to reduce my number of referrals to 0, and that's going to be classroom referrals. So things that are in my classroom. So I realize that when I'm out and about in the building, like in the hallways, and if I'm gone with a sub and stuff, there's going to be referrals from those things. But when I'm in the classroom, in my classroom, I want to reduce that number to 0.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're focused on behavior and classroom management, and we're going to go to 0. That's an awesome goal right there. What's the lowest referrals you've written in the past? Do you happen to know that, as far as your classroom referrals, not using the hallway or the...
Last year there was about 12.
Okay. Right.
12. So we're just going to try going big and go down to 0, because that would be amazing to do. Even if I end up writing 1, I mean, still pretty much better than last year. So we're just going to hope to make it down to 0.
Yeah, absolutely. Alrighty.
And so far we're on track with being this late.
We're at 0 so far?
We're at 0 so
Okay.
far still, and it's almost Halloween time,
Yeah.
so that's good.
I think 9 weeks in here, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you think this goal will have a positive impact on your class around the building?
100%. I feel like, especially if I'm not having to write referrals, because I will write a referral if it's warranted.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not having to write referrals in my classroom, I feel like hopefully that behavior will spill out into other classrooms, like the good positive behavior, and also just kind of help the school culture as well. So.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of nice. And it flows both ways too. So, this might even be something, just thinking out loud, that you might want to work with your team on, let them know it's your goal, because their energy can carry into your classroom too sometimes as well.
Very true.
And that's not exactly a hallway referral, but it also is something that could have happened prior to your class. So just something to think about.
Yeah, very true.
Are there any goals, any other goals you want to focus on this year? One is certainly enough. If you want to do a second one as well, we can, if you can't decide between 2 of them.
For me personally, I think that's going to be the big one that I want to just focus on,
Okay.
just because I feel like that's going to take a lot.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so that'll probably be my one goal for the year.
Sounds good. Who will improve from this goal, and by how much will they improve?
The students. Well, it'll be a class. It's kind of weird to say that they'll improve, but the ones last year having that many 12, and then this year completely different students. Not every class is the same. But I mean, there was some referrals written on them last year, and I kind of looked at my students' logs. So that would help the whole student body there improve.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's kind of a weird question to say by how much, because and I hear where you're coming from there. So
yeah,
there definitely were some students in your class that had referrals last year, so that would be an improvement. And you've already mentioned this, but how will the improvement be measured? What's the measurable thing we're looking at here?
The measurable thing is just the referral data, which I know that Mr. Molina will have pulled for me, so I'll be able to see that.
Awesome.
Yep.
Sounds good. And then so your plan is 0 for the entire year. When do you want to actually measure the improvement, or to measure your goal?
I'm going to measure my goal probably about a few days before I have my end of the year conference, just to kind of make sure that's where I'm at. Now, we all know that at the end of the year, sometimes behaviors amp up a little.
Yeah.
So I'm still, even though I'll probably have it measured by that conference time, which will probably be like a week or 2 before the end of the year, I'm still hoping that even after that, I'll still be at 0. So I'll probably just check back in for myself, even though it won't be on the record. I'll probably just check back in anyway, just to make sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, the end of the year can be interesting sometimes.
Yes, it can.
Okay, so we just discussed our SMART goals there. I know I haven't actually mentioned that term yet, but you did give a specific goal, and it's measurable. Do you think that it's achievable?
I think it is achievable. I feel like if I'm doing everything that I can, like building relationships, having a strong structure, letting the kids know that there are going to be consequences for their behavior, things like that. I feel like I truly can reduce it to 0.
Awesome. All right.
Yep.
Did I ask this question yet? Do you know any of the current building or district goals, and does your goal align with either of them?
Oh yeah, so we have a building goal right now, which is to reduce the number of office referrals by 10%,
Okay.
which would help a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because 12, that's quite a number.
Absolutely. So if you're reducing it by 12, then that's going to help the building out.
Yeah.
In total, for sure. So it definitely aligns with the. Was that a district goal or a building goal? Pardon me.
That was a building goal.
Perfect. Okay, sounds good. And now that you have your goal in mind, what do you plan to do to make sure the students actually achieve their goal? Like, what action steps will you take? And are there any resources that you'll need that you don't have yet?
So my biggest thing is I'm going to be trying very hard to build those relationships, but also include parents before that an issue gets too big. I'm going to be learning some things because I have a really great partner, Denise, who has no problem, making a kid call their parent on the phone right in the middle of class, and then having them tell their side of the story, and then she'll pick up the phone and do that. I think I'm going to implement that kind of because I feel like the earlier you get the parents involved, it won't escalate any further to where it would be an office referral. And I also am going to use the trauma-informed care that we've been learning in those modules to kind of help out with that as well.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, that trauma-informed care is definitely kind of changing the feel of some of the classrooms for the teachers that are actually taking ownership of it. So that will help. And parent contact is something that we all could work on, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. And if you make it a team, team effort, then it's not just you that's concerned about it or focusing on it. Cool.
So I feel like that'll be a big area for me to grow on because I feel like I'm not the best with parent contact, like if something happens. But Denise, she's great. I mean, any little thing, she'll call right away, and it usually kind of squashes the problem, which is really nice. So I'm going to try to be better with that.
And that's a time-efficient approach, too, because instead of her on the phone the entire time, that the students are doing some of that while she's still maintaining the classroom, I'm sure.
Yeah, she'll use that time to get them started on some independent work while the child is telling their side of the story. I've seen it happen a few times. It works pretty well.
Awesome. So what's a realistic time frame? This is kind of a weird question based on what you've already said, but the question I'd written out beforehand is, what a realistic time frame, what is a realistic time frame to accomplish this goal by? And is there a certain point you'd like the students to be at before the end of the goal? For an example, if the goal is set for the end of the year, is there a spot you'd like them to be at by the end of the semester? And we're talking about zeros here, so...
Yeah. I'll probably check at the end of the semester. And then check at the end of third quarter just to make sure I'm where I'm at and where I need to be. And if I do have to write a referral in that time frame, I can just I can kind of modify my goal and be like, we're not going to write anymore. So.
That's a good idea. All right. Yeah, I see what you're saying there. So rather than saying you failed, you'll just reset at that point in time and then try to achieve it again.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I think a lot of these questions are self-explanatory at this point, just based off your goals. So, how will you know that progress is being made?
By just checking the referral data.
Yeah, 0 referrals. What are some indicators that will tell you that you're making progress? Same answer. Documents or student results that could be used as indicators.
Just referral data.
Referrals. Do you happen to keep track of the detentions that you... I guess, do you happen to keep track of individual detentions with students or parent phone calls, anything like that?
I log all the parent phone calls, and then when I have a kid for detention, they write lines with me, and I save every line that I've ever had in detention. They go in my detention folder so that next year I can show my kids, hey, this is what happens if you have a detention.
Gotcha.
So it's kind of a thick folder.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that'll definitely give us some data, not just that we have 0 referrals, but also it'll show... I guess the steps that we're taking to avoid those referrals in the first place as well.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, I'm your admin, so what can I do to assist you in achieving your goals, or what can your principal do to help you to achieve those goals.
Mm. Well, you could come back in and observe me and see if I'm, doing very well with my classroom management.
All right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be a good thing, because there's always some new tricks of the trade to learn, and getting feedback's important. So,
awesome. All right. I have some other teachers that we're working on what justifies a referral as well. I think that you do a really good job with this. But something that I would do to support you as well would just be helping you determine if this is actually referral worthy, or if there's a different step that we could take prior to that. So.
Yeah, I would say, for me, I think that if it's something with like refusal to work or being defiant, etc., being too loud, voice level, all those things, those are parent phone call worthy. They're not referral worthy. The biggest thing for referrals is when a student puts their hands on another child, or if they start name calling or cussing or whatever. Those are what I would call a referral. Otherwise, everything else I feel like should be in my own hands for parent calls or detentions, etc.
Definitely. I'd agree with you on that. Last question I have for you today, Audrey, Ms. Wodzinski, is there anything that I can do to help you get the evidence or the artifacts for your goal?
Help me run the data report, since I do not have administrator access.
All right, sounds good. I'm looking forward to having that myself someday. But
that'd be great.
Yeah, help me run the data report. All right, well, I believe I've asked all the questions. We're sticking with one goal here.
Okay.
And just going back over that goal in SMART goal form. Specific, who will improve them by how much? It's the students themselves, and you're hoping to reduce a total of 12 referrals in the building. Measurable, how will it be measured? Referral data itself, right? Achievable, what will the educator do to make sure the students achieve this? And you've already talked about your relationship building,
trauma-informed care, parent involvement,
parent involvement, perfect. And it does align with the building or district goals. Do you happen to know if there's like a certain standard? I have a list of standards right here that it ties to by any chance.
I would say probably standard 6 demonstrates competence in classroom management.
Yeah, you mentioned classroom management, so and that is standard 6. Awesome. All right. Well, I think. Oh, and then time bound. We're going to measure at the semester at the end of the year, you said?
Well, yeah, and I think it'll be every quarter. So right now I'm looking at the data, and so far I'm at 0, which is great. Then at the end of the semester, quarter 3, and then the end of the year. So
thank you so much. Well, I think it's achievable for you, definitely.
Awesome.
You're doing great, and I look forward to observing your classroom and looking at classroom management, and then talking at the end of the year and congratulating the 0 referrals, hopefully. So we'll see how it goes.
Thank you.
Thank you.